A few weeks ago, I was shooting a video and the tripod that I'm currently using, it sort of fell over and the spreader bars that keep the feet stable, one of those just sort of broke. So I tried to fix it with some glue. These are these plastic rods. So the clip that holds onto this plastic pin, it sort of broke at the hinge. And I tried to glue it together, but I couldn't get it to work. I tried a few different kinds of glues and just sort of gluing it together, gluing that rod onto the pin itself was not an option because it needs to pivot to adjust to different heights. So I went online and tried to find if I could find a spare part. I looked around quite a lot, but I had no success. So I went to the hardware store and I got myself some steel binding wire and I looped it through those plastic pins and wrapped it around itself. So now it is not just functional, but it actually looks really cool as well. Planned obsolescence is the practice of designing things in such a way that the life of the object is artificially limited so that it becomes obsolete after a set period of time. This can be done by making sure that it is made outdated or unfashionable, or done by making it less durable and less repairable. Just 15 years ago, you had phones like these. They had removable backs and you could replace these batteries. An uncle of mine actually had multiple of these batteries because he lived in the middle of nowhere where there was limited access to electricity. So he would just charge these up when there was electricity, and then he could go for weeks, just change the batteries when one died out. With time, we started getting phones like these. They still had replaceable batteries, and you could remove them on your own. But they started becoming less user replaceable and less user repairable. I actually have a phone that is the next generation of the same product, but the battery in this one and this one don't interchange. Then you started getting phones like these. These have non-removable backs. The batteries had to be changed only at a service center, and they were quite expensive. So anything that broke had to be repaired by the service center, and they could charge whatever prices they wanted. So with time, electronics have become less durable. Phones like these, I could just replace the batteries and these would come to life and they would work just fine. To phones like these, whose batteries I could remove and replace, but they have become so obsolete and so outdated that they are almost unusable. To phones like these, that are sort of expected to be replaced every 3 years. So if I wanted to get this in working order, I would be spending almost as much as buying a new one of these, or something in the same segment. Electronics are quite finicky to try and repair yourselves, but for physical and mechanical things, it is a little more doable. And the processes are age-old and we can continue to use them. I had these old hiking shoes that lasted for over a decade. They were made of leather and rubber, and whenever they got a cut in them, I could just take them to a cobbler and get it repaired. So I got these sneakers and these ones, and they all had the same problem. They all rip. And these super expensive sneakers with their space age meshes all continue to rip. And as you can see, I did try to repair them. If I take them to a cobbler, they will outright reject me because they cannot guarantee the durability of the product, and that has made these useless. So I got rid of those sneakers and I got these shoes. They're very similar to my old ones. They are made of leather and rubber, and I've been using these for the last few months and they have worked really, really well. Back in 2013, I was going on my first Himalayan trek and I needed to get some gear. So one of my major purchases was a rucksack. This is a Wildcraft Trailblazer. It's a 50-liter rucksack and it has gone with me for every single one of my travels from 2013 up to now. On my last adventure, I was near the hills in Dehradun, and the aluminum frames that sort of keep the bag stiff and stuck to your back, there was a tear on the bottom of the canvas, so the rods were starting to fall out. So when I made it home, I tried to look for a replacement, and I looked around quite a lot, but I couldn't find something that worked just as perfectly as this had. Remember that I had adapted my whole style of travel to work with this bag and maybe a second day pack. So I was not willing to change my entire style of travel to fit a different bag. I also have a particular way of organizing my things inside. I also have a bunch of accessories, which is packing cubes and things like that, which go with this perfectly well. So the logical conclusion was to get the same bag repaired. I could have taken it to a cobbler to get it stitched up, but I decided why not put a little bit of myself into this. So here's what I did. I fixed up the holes themselves with really strong thread, and I put a denim patch over it to give it some extra strength. But the denim was very similar in color to the blue of the bag, and I wanted the fact that I had mended the bag, the fact that I had repaired the bag, to be more visible. So I found some different patch of fabric that I had at home. This is sort of like a beige color, and I stitched it up together with more white and purple thread to again make it be more visible. I also have another bag that is in need of repair. This is a camera bag that I bought in 2015 with my first DSLR. It has a camera insert that I've since removed, and I've used this as a laptop bag or just a day trip bag for the last 10 years or so now. It is a perfect backpack for me. In the meantime, the mesh bottle holder has ripped apart in a few spots. I tried to mend it, as I always do, but it wasn't enough. So I tried to find replacements in the form of two different bags, and they served their purposes okay, but they weren't perfect. They were too small and could not hold my big beefy laptop in it, or they were just not right. So now the only solution is to try and repair this bag one more time and do it right. I found these two pieces of blue fabric. They came with a kurta of mine. One of these was supposed to be a pocket that you could sew on if you needed one, and the other is a patch of fabric so you can test out fabric conditioners or different cleaning agents. Sometimes I will just go through it and then come back and just stitch between these lines. So fill these lines up as well. So here's the final result. This is what it looks like. And I have put the biggest bottles in to check, and I think it works really well. The blue, I really like the way that it contrasts with the orange. And now the bag is ready for me to take with me on my next journey. We mend things not only because it makes them last longer, but because it makes them unique. Everything that you repair is going to be uniquely yours, and you will be helping that object continue its journey with you rather than with the trash in a landfill. My name is Pradyumna, and thank you for watching.